All right, let's dive into something called flow leadership. And it's all about this idea: stop pushing and start enabling. We're going to talk about a huge shift in how we think about leadership, moving away from that constant, grinding pressure to just get results, and instead creating a space where amazing work can just happen, naturally.
So let's just start with a really direct question for you. Think about your own leadership style. Right now, is it creating flow or is it creating friction? Are you helping your team get into that smooth groove of productivity and engagement? Or are you, maybe without even realizing it, the one causing the resistance and the bottlenecks?
You know, a lot of leaders feel completely stuck in this cycle. It's this constant push, push, push for results. And look, if that feels familiar, you are definitely not alone. It's such a common trap. We push for targets, we push for deadlines. And what happens? That pressure cooker environment just leads to burnout, disengagement, and honestly, a team that's just checked out. And the crazy part is, it feels like the harder you push, the less you actually get.
Okay, so what does this pushing really look like day to day? Let's get specific and break down some of these super common leadership traps that absolutely kill flow, sometimes before it even has a chance to start.
And as I go through these, just think about how many might ring a bell. First up, the classic, micromanagement. We all know this one. It just suffocates creativity. Then there's focusing only on the outputs, the numbers, the KPIs, without connecting it to a real purpose, a real why. There's also ignoring emotional intelligence, just forgetting the human element of trust and empathy. And of course, stifling innovation with these super rigid structures that leave no room to try new things. And finally, and this one is so important, neglecting your own self-leadership, forgetting that you, as the leader, have to model the very flow you want to see in your team. But here's the good news. There is a powerful antidote to all these traps. It's what we're talking about today, flow leadership. And the whole idea is this: you change the conditions. You don't just keep pushing the people harder.
So what exactly is this state of flow? Well, think of it like that magic zone, right? It's when work doesn't even feel like work. Your team is just so dialed in, so engaged and energized that they're performing at their absolute peak. And this happens when three key things click into place. They feel connected to a real purpose, they have total clarity on what they're doing, and they're free from all those unnecessary bottlenecks and red tape.
And this quote from Gaelle Devins just sums it all up perfectly. True leadership is not about control, it is about enabling. It's not about gripping the reins tighter and micromanaging every single move. It's about letting go. It's about enabling your people to fly.
Now, getting to this point, it takes more than just learning a few new tricks or tactics. This really requires a fundamental shift in your mindset. You have to consciously move from being a manager who controls things to being a leader who enables people.
And this chart really lays out how deep that change really is. Look at the difference. On one side, you've got command and control, where you're micromanaging tasks. On the other, with flow leadership, you're empowering people with autonomy. Instead of just pushing for outputs, you're inspiring them with a clear purpose. That rigid hierarchy, it gets replaced with flexible processes. And that old-school culture of controlling information, that gets transformed into a culture built on trust and real empathy.
Okay, I get it. This all sounds great in theory, right? But the real question is, how do you actually do it? So let's get super practical. We're going to walk through a 6-step action plan that you can literally start thinking about today.
All right, step 1, clarify the purpose and the vision. Your team needs to know the why behind their work. They have to see how their day-to-day tasks actually connect to the big picture. Number 2, empower, don't control. This is huge. It means really delegating, not just dumping tasks, and shifting your own role from being a manager to being more of a coach. And number 3, you have to foster psychological safety. You've got to create an environment where it's okay to fail, where mistakes are just seen as chances to learn, not something to be punished for. Because honestly, that's where all the best innovation comes from.
Moving on to number 4, you've got to balance structure with flexibility. This means keeping the guardrails that are actually helpful, but being ruthless about cutting out the unnecessary rules and processes that just slow everyone down. Number 5 is absolutely crucial: develop leaders at every single level. You want to encourage everyone on the team to take real ownership of what they do. And finally, number 6, and this might be the most important, practice flow yourself. You have to lead by example. Your own calm, your focus, your ability to adapt, that's what sets the tone for the entire team.
And that last point really brings us to the final and maybe the most important takeaway here. Because creating flow in your team, in your whole organization, it doesn't actually start with them. It starts with you. It's all about how you lead yourself first.
So if there is only one thing you remember from all of this,
Let it be this. Leadership isn't about pushing harder. It's about creating the right conditions for your team to just thrive, naturally. When you focus your energy on creating those conditions, purpose, trust, adaptability, then high performance and that feeling of fulfillment, they just become the natural outcome. It's not something you have to force anymore.
So I want to leave you with a challenge, something you can act on this week. I want you to take a hard look at your team, at your processes, even at your own habits, and ask yourself, what is the one bottleneck, just one, that I can remove this week to unlock my team's flow? Maybe it's an unnecessary meeting, or a confusing approval process, or just one outdated, rigid rule. What's that one thing you can do to get started?